Human saves an alien girl in an accident. 10 years later, he finds out she is. Before knowing who she is, please press like button, share this video, and subscribe to this channel to know who she is. And now you will come to the endless black of Red Verge's border space. The Alliance sniper pod hung silent. Jonah Keats steadied his breath behind the scope, crosshairs locked on the refugee ship's flickering drive plume. Oral vessel, marked Level 5 pathogen. Order came crisp over the comm. Eliminate. His finger hovered. Steady. Through the magnification, portholes glowed with small faces. Dozens of them. Pale purple skin, silver veins catching starlight like threads of mercury. Children, pressing close to the glass. One girl, maybe 8, cupped her hands around her eyes, staring right into the void. Right at him. Jonah's pulse ticked up. Fire authorization counter spun green to yellow, then red. His thumb flicked the mode switch. Not kinetic round. Jamming pulse. A sweeping wave burst from the pod's emitter, frying the ship's trackers, cloaking its signature in static snow. Malfunction, he reported, voice flat as plasteel. Scope glitch, target lost. Dispatch acknowledged, logged it. But Jonah knew. That was the end of his ascent. Captaincy evaporating like exhaust. Free fall. A week ground by in the iron sand waist below. Red Verge's ravine split the planet like a wound. Red dust devils swirling in the low gravity. Jonah's dropship skimmed the canyon rim, sensors pinging wreckage. The oral hull lay crumpled at the bottom, flattened against basalt, drive core cold. He rappelled down alone, boots crunching through fused sand. Purple stains streaked the twisted metal, life signs fading fast. 2 adults slumped inside the breach, male, female, barely breathing, silver veins dulled to gray. The female's eyes locked on his. She pressed a slim biomedical tool into his gloved hand, etched with genetic code differentials, a holographic prompt flickering. Preserve the resonance. Her gaze carried weight. Memories not his own, pressing like a plea. Beside her, a girl, small, still warm, purple skin unmarked, silver veins pulsing faintly at her temples. Jonah didn't hesitate. He scooped the child, sealed her in his med pouch with oxygel. Adults, he logged as unrecoverable. Merciful injection. The tool hummed in his pocket, burning its data into his wrist implant. Up the rope, into the ship. Dust storm incoming. He punched evasive vectors, vanishing the evidence. Harbor Light Home squatted on Red Verge's edge, a cluster of prefab domes under perpetual ochre sky. Evelyn Park ran it, tough widow, no nonsense, raised a dozen strays on government scraps. Jonah walked in with the girl bundled, medfile fabricated on the fly, rare chromatic dysplasia. Human variant, orphaned in a freighter mishap. Evelyn eyed him, then the bundle. Alliance, man, what's this? Found her drifting, Jonah said casually. Docs say she'll need monitoring. I'll cover costs. He slid creds across the counter. Evelyn nodded once. Practical woman. Took the girl, Lyra, they named her, from some old Earth word for light. That night, Jonah claimed the abandoned tank tower overlooking the town. Rusted hulk, perfect perch. He ran sensor cables through the struts, hid electromagnetic mines in the sand drifts, planted public cam eyes in lampposts, feeding to his console. Mapped every alley, every emergency exit. Tin wall inside got a new schedule, scratched in grease pencil. Breakfast, 0700 school, 0830. Lyra's nightmares, 0200. 0230 AVG leaves in the yard changed with the seasons. He noted those too. The first months were quite risks. Jonah boiled oral candy from black market chems, tart, shimmering purple. Left it in Lyra's cubby with a note. From a friend. She tasted it, eyes widening, silver veins flickering like she'd remembered something vast. A purple pebble from the crash valley next, smooth, warm in his palm before he slipped it under her pillow. Then the music box. He'd scavenged parts, tuned it to hum a native melody, soft chimes like wind through crystal. Each gift, a gamble. Mirex Consortium lurked in Red Verge's underbelly, human traffickers with deep pockets, sniffing for exotics. But Lyra's smile when the box played? Worth it. She'd clutch it during storms, humming along, voice tiny but sure. Jonah watched from the tower, a guardian shadow, rifle cleaned daily. Scopes swept the horizons. Red Verge breathed on, miners hauling ore, freighters thundering in, unaware of the invisible net tightening around one small life. Lyra settled. Walked funny at first, low-G adaptation, but Evelyn's kids pulled her in. Rough housing in the yard, sharing ration packs. Jonah logged it all. Progress. Stable. But nights. Her nightmares echoed on the sensors. Soft cries cutting the static. He'd adjust the tower's white noise emitter. Lull her back. One dawn, dust settling after a gale. Jonah hiked to Harbor Light. Lyra sat on the steps, tracing silver veins on her wrist. She looked up. Didn't flinch at his shadow. The candy, it tasted like home. He crouched, keeping distance. Yeah? Good. Keep it secret, kid. She nodded. Serious. You made the box play again. Guess I did. A beat. Connection. Mirex whispers reached him then. Rumors of a purple stray fetching premium on the outer rims. Jonah prepped the first cache. Pulse mines under the landing pads. Not lethal. Just discouraging. Months blurred. Lyra grew an inch, then two. Started school, doodling star maps with purple crayons. Jonah's tower became command central. Feeds from 20 cams, AI sifting patterns. A broker landed once, asking questions. Fuel bay malfired on takeoff. Ship limped out system. Lyra found another pebble in her shoe one day. Grinned at nothing. Jonah, from the tower, allowed himself a rare half-smile. This was the salvage. His conscience, breathing. But the stars above Red Verge never slept, and neither did the hunters. Ozone's scent lingered, faint but closing. The seed was sown. Now, it took root. Years drifted across Red Verge like slow red snow. Each flake a day, a week, a season. Lyra's knees no longer fit under the little desk in Harbor Light's common room. Her shoulders brushed the doorframe when she ducked inside after school. The purple of her skin had settled into a deep twilight hue, the silver veins at her temples pulsing faintly whenever the yard filled with laughter or shouting. Jonah tracked every centimeter from the tower's scopes. Growth charts scratched beside the tin wall schedule in grease pencil that never quite washed off. Her gift didn't announce itself with trumpets. It started with headaches sharp enough to drop her mid-step. Evelyn chalked it up to dust allergies. Jonah recognized the pattern from the biomedical tool's archived notes. Empathic resonance awakening, phase modulation, counter-phase adjustment. The crashish sight device had etched the theory into his implant. Now it etched itself into Lyra. One recess. Two boys squared off over a stolen holocard. Lyra stood 3 meters away, palms pressed to her temples, then exhaled a single low note. Not words, just vibration. The boys blinked, shoulders dropping, argument dissolving like steam off hot metal. Sorry, one muttered. The other handed the card back. Lyra looked at her own hands as if they belonged to someone else. Jonah expanded the protective shell one quiet layer at a time. Infrared motion sensors the size of bottle caps vanished into public trash bins along the main drag, scanning heat signatures, flagging anything that lingered too long near Harbor Light. Maintenance cabinets in every alley got false backs. Pulse rifles, EMP grenades, medkits, collapsible shields. Evacuation routes spidered beneath the town. Service tunnels marked with UV ink that glowed only under the custom filter Jonah kept in his wrist rig. To the miners and shopkeepers, it was just quirky graffiti. To him, it was a map of last exits. He logged the additions in dry italics. Layer 2, perimeter complete. Layer 3, communal nodes seating. Lyra formed the prism circle in the basement under the laundry room. Glow lamps strung on extension cords, mismatched cushions in a ring. Misfits gathered. A stutterer from the ore docks. A girl who saw patterns in engine noise. A boy who collected broken drones. Lyra listened more than she spoke. When the stutterer's frustration spiked, she mirrored it softly, then eased it into calm the way you turn down a dial. When the pattern girl panicked before tests, Lyra pulled collective confidence from the circle and wrapped it around her like a blanket. We're prisms, Lyra said one night, voice shy but steady. Light comes in messy. We bend it clean. Threats tested the wall. A 3-man snatch team grappled onto Harbor Light's roof at 300. Black suits, suppressed rifles, corporate sigils scrubbed off. Jonah's neuropulse trap fired from the gutter, a silent bloom of shaped current. They dropped twitching, alive but dreaming of open sky. He zip-tied wrists, injected short-term paralytics, loaded them into their own shuttle. Departure manifest, read mechanical failure. Reroute to penal moon. Journal. Mitigate. No trace. Pattern established. Another night, a broker in a cheap suit landed asking after exotic orphans. Jonah watched him sip synth coffee in the cantina, probing Evelyn with smiles. Fuel bay on the broker's shuttle, overpressurized during pre-flight. Controlled rupture, no injuries, just a very expensive limp home. Jonah logged the incident beside a new line on the tin wall. Discouragement protocol, effective. Interstellar feeds kept screaming. Hollow banners over every port. Aeral pathogen. Quarantine level 5. Old footage looped endlessly. School transport spiraling into a sun. Lily's markers spilling across the deck. Jonah muted the sound, but couldn't mute the knife in his chest. Some nights he sat on the tower's catwalk, boots dangling over a 100-meter drop, replaying the clip frame by frame. Lyra felt the echo without knowing the source. One dusk, she climbed the service ladder uninvited. First time inside the tower. Stood in the hatchway, silver veins flickering with borrowed grief. "You're carrying a hole," she said, soft. "It's heavy." Jonah didn't turn. "Old gear, kid. Rusty. Leave it." She pressed a folded drawing into his hand anyway. 3 stick figures under a crayon star sky. 1 tall shadow, 1 small prism, 1 empty space waiting. "We'll fill it," she promised, already halfway down the ladder. Lyra's usefulness spread. Dust storms brewed faster than satellites could predict. She felt the collective spike of anxiety in the mining camps and pinged Jonah 20 minutes early. Enough for shutters, enough for livestock. A flu strain hit the housing block. Lyra walked the corridors, silver veins bright, pinpointing the 3 kids whose immune responses screamed wrong. Quarantine before the medics arrived. Fights in the schoolyard ended with a circle of kids breathing in sync, Lyra at the center like a quiet conductor. The town started calling her their living antenna, without quite knowing why. Jonah became the invisible wall. He taught her tactics in pieces, hollow scenarios projected on the tower wall after midnight. Gray squad, left flank. Counterphase? She'd close her eyes, push an emotional pulse, watch the simulation stagger. Again, tighter. Delinquents cornered her once on the wreck roof. Older teens bored, cruel. "Freak show, huh?" One sneered, tugging her sleeve to expose the silver. Lyra's pulse spiked. Jonah felt it through the sensors. Sprinklers triggered, water first, then a slick of technical oil from the maintenance line. The pack slipped, slid, yelped their way down the fire escape in a tangle of limbs and bruised egos. Jonah logged, non-lethal, educational. Myrex tightened the noose. Gray-clad elites drilled in the deep wastes, movements too precise for mercenaries. Jonah recognized the cadence from a lifetime ago. Fleet discipline, parade ground crisp. His old marching pattern, weaponized against him. Satellites disguised as meteorites adjusted orbits overhead, slow and deliberate. On clear nights, their undersides glinted. Sensor arrays, not rock. Lyra sensed the net closing. "They're hungry," she whispered one evening, standing at the tower's viewport. "Cold, like metal before it cuts." Jonah checked the rifle beside him, chambered a round he hoped never to fire. "Then we get colder, smarter, faster." The tin wall schedule grew crowded. Lyra training, 1800, 2000 prism circle, 1900, 2100, overlap intentional, threat level, orange communal defense nodes, 73% seated, layer 3 woken pieces, lampposts that could unfold magnetic mesh, sewer grates that sealed into blast doors, playground swings rigged with thermal decoys. The town slept under the upgrades, unaware. Jonah slept less. Lyra practiced counterphase until her nose bled silver. The wall listened. The girl inside it learned to sing in frequencies no one else could hear. One dawn, the sky held its breath. Pseudo-meteorites locked geosync directly above harbor light. On the ground, boot prints appeared in the sand, measured, identical, marching toward town. Jonah chambered the rifle. Lyra stood on the dormitory steps, palms open, silver veins glowing like live wires. The noose was a heartbeat from cinching tight. But walls that learn to listen also learn when to speak. Dawn over Red Verge came in bruised reds, the kind that made the iron sand dunes look like cooling embers. Jonah stood on the tower's catwalk, rifle across his chest, eyes on the false meteorites hanging motionless in low orbit. Their undersides had unfolded overnight, petal arrays of sensor masts drinking every whisper of electromagnetic noise. The town below stirred, miners yawning toward the ore lifts, kids chasing ration trucks, Evelyn's kettle whistling in Harbor Light's kitchen. None of them looked up. Jonah never stopped. Lyra felt the satellites first. She was in the yard helping the little ones tie shoelaces when her knees buckled. Silver veins flared bright enough to cast shadows. "They're listening," she breathed, voice small. Jonah was already descending the tower ladder, boots clanging metal rungs. He caught her elbow before she hit the dust. "How many?" "All of them, like ears pressed to glass." He keyed the communal nodes, 73% coverage, now 78 as the playground swings unfolded decoy emitters. A soft magnetic hum rose, threading the air. To the town, it was just another windy morning. To Jonah, it was the first chord of a song he'd rehearsed in silence for years. Mirex didn't wait for night anymore. Gray-clad scouts ghosted the perimeter at noon, 4 figures in matte armor, moving in staggered diamond. Jonah tracked them on the trash bin sensors. Heat sigs low, footsteps light, rifles slung but ready. Fleet cadence, but wrong. Too quiet, like predators that had learned patience. One paused at the cantina, visor reflecting the hollow menu. Ordered water, paid with untraceable cred chip. Left a tip. Jonah's finger hovered over the neuropulse grid. Not yet. Lyra watched from the school fence. Prism Circle kids clustered behind her. "They're tasting the air," she whispered, "looking for resonance." The scouts moved on, boots leaving no prints in the shifting sand. That evening, Jonah ran diagnostics on the obsidian relay fragments he'd pieced together over the years. Black market data dumps, intercepted fleet pings, the biomedical tool's hidden layers. The picture clarified like frost melting off glass. No pathogen. Never had been. Oral genetics carried an emotional resonance array, capable of syncing with the relay, an illegal military gate stuffed with dirty contracts. Open it, and every bribe, every assassination, every slave route spilled into the light. Close it forever, and the evidence vanished. 2 keys required: pure oral empath and a baseline conduit trained from childhood. Lyra and someone else. Jonah's stomach turned to lead. He found Lyra in the basement, Prism Circle dismissed early. She sat cross-legged under the glow lamps, biomedical tool in her lap, the one from the crash now cracked open, holographic schematics spinning slow. "It's a lock," she said without looking up. "And I'm half the tumbler." Jonah crouched. "We changed the combination." She met his eyes, older than her years. "Or we break the door." Training intensified. Midnight sessions in the tower. Jonah projecting emotional signatures from old fleet psyops files. Fear, obedience, rage. Lyra learned to catch them mid-air, twist the phase, send them back warped. "Like catching a thrown knife by the blade," she panted once, nose dripping silver. Jonah wiped it with his sleeve, said nothing. The tin wall filled with new lines. Counterphase drills. 2200 or 200 satellite evasion patterns. Memorized Lily Transport Manifest. Reviewed X-47, he still couldn't say the name aloud. Mirex escalated. A routine inspection team rolled in. 3 shuttles, corporate logos, smiles for the local sheriff. They set up in the old refinery, scanning for exotic biologics. Jonah watched their drones lift. Sleek, silent, hungry. One buzzed Harbor Light's roof. Lyra was on the playground. Drone dipped, camera iris dilating. She looked straight up and pushed. Not hard, just enough. The drone wobbled, gyros screaming, then nosedived into a sand drift. Mechanical failure. Inspection team logged it, moved on. Jonah's journal. Child asset confirmed active. Escalation expected. 2 nights later, the sky cracked open with encrypted chatter. Fleet ciphers Jonah hadn't heard since the border wars. Commodore Hale's voice calm as vacuum. "Secure the keys. Eliminate witnesses. Relay opens at sync." Jonah's blood turned to ice. Hale had been his CO once. Mentor. Betrayer. Lyra dreamed the dream again. School transport tumbling. Markers spilling. A girl's voice calling Dad into static. She woke screaming. Jonah was there before Evelyn, wrapping her in a thermal blanket. "It's okay, kid. Just noise." "It's a memory," she whispered, "but not mine." He held her until the shaking stopped. Outside, the false meteorites drifted lower, shadows lengthening across the dunes like fingers reaching for a throat. Communal nodes hit 92%. Jonah walked the town at dusk, casual as any miner, flipping hidden switches. Lampposts that could bloom magnetic mesh, sewer grates that sealed into blast doors, the cantina's neon sign that doubled as a jamming beacon. Evelyn caught him behind harbor light, arms crossed. "You're arming my orphanage, Jonah." "Upgrading the playground," he corrected. She studied him a long moment, then nodded once. Practical woman. Lyra's range stretched to the horizon now. She could taste the gray unit's cold discipline from the waist, metal before it cuts. "They're close," she reported one dawn, standing on the tower's roof beside him. "And they brought the other key." Jonah's rifle came up smooth, scoped to the ridgeline. Empty sand. But he felt it too. Heartbeat in the static, familiar as his own. Harton. The net tightened until the sky forgot how to be wide. Satellites locked geosync. Gray unit vanished into the dunes, waiting for night. Jonah checked the rifle, the caches, the nodes. Lyra checked her breathing. Slow, steady, prism bending light into weapons no one else could see. Red Verge held its breath. The wall was ready. The girl inside it was becoming the storm. Night dropped over Red Verge like a lead blanket. Sudden, absolute. The power station on the eastern ridge coughed once, then died. Street lamps flickered, failed. Harbor lights' emergency strips glowed faint amber, then dimmed to heartbeat red. Sirens rose in the distance, low, mournful, the town's old evacuation tone. Jonah was already moving, rifle slung, boots silent on the tower stairs. He keyed the communal net. Blackout protocol, nodes live. Across the settlement, hidden fixtures woke. Magnetic mesh unfolding between rooftops. Thermal decoys blooming in alleyways like ghost flowers. Lyra's voice crackled in his earpiece, small but steady. "Jonah, the dark feels heavy, like it's watching." "Stay on the steps, kid. Door's your wall." He vaulted the railing, landing cat-soft on the next roof. 5 children huddled inside the shelter. Prism Circle kids leading the younger ones in breathing games. Voices steady despite the tremor in tiny hands. Evelyn locked the inner blast door with a clang that echoed like finality. "Count to 4 in, hold 4, out 4, one boy coached, voice cracking. A girl echoed him, stronger. Outside, Lyra's palms trembled under the crush of incoming fields. Cold greed threading through absolute discipline. And beneath it all, a familiar heartbeat sunk in cotton. She tilted her head, silver veins pulsing. "They're here," she whispered into the wristcom Jonah had given her years ago. "And something's wrong with the rhythm. It's skipping." Jonah's reply came breathy between rooftops. "Skip means leak. Use it." Fafikir Mirex threw smoke first. Thick, choking, rolling in from the dunes like a living thing. Gray unit breached the outer fence in perfect silence. Charges peeling chain link like paper. They advanced along the floor plan Jonah had memorized backward. 2 squads left, 1 center, leader trailing. Armor mat, visors down, rifles suppressed. "Fence down," Lyra reported, voice rising. 20. No, 22 signatures. Moving fast. "Copy. Eyes on leader?" "Center trail, slim, different cadence." Jonah left the tower dark, sprinting tin roofs, sliding guy wires, boots thudding soft into sand. He took the first shot from a water tower, precise streak into an armor joint. The figure dropped, stunned. Smoke split by neat streaks, signal ports, pulse emitters, knee actuators. But the formation didn't break, didn't slow. "First down," he grunted. "They're adapting. Shields up." Lyra's breath hitched, pushing back at me, like walls slamming. The leader moved different, slim build, measured steps, clipped reflexes that danced on the edge of memory. Jonah's scope tracked, breath held, visor flipped up, a teenage face, eyes once framed in an old photo, now hardened behind fleet conditioning. Lily Keats, alive, here, leading the knife. "Lily!" The name cracked out of him, raw. Her head snapped toward the sound, scope glint giving him away. "Sniper on the water tower. Suppress." Gray rifles swung. Jonah rolled as rounds sparked off metal. Lyra's voice cut through static. "That heartbeat. It's yours, but colder. Miami founded bars, the battlefield stilled like air before lightning. Jonah's rifle lowered a fraction. The gray unit's psychic shield surged, clamping emotions, bouncing Lyra's tentative probes back like undertow. She staggered on the steps, knees buckling. Overhead, pseudo-meteor satellites locked onto Harbor Light's roof, bioscanners humming for the keychain. Shield's hurting, Lyra gasped. Need a crack. I'm making one, Jonah promised, already moving. In a buried command post 3 ridges out, Commodore Hale watched split screens, thermal overlays, empathic wave graphs, the obsidian relay's gate icon, pulsing hungry red. Sync in 90 seconds, he murmured to his aide. Keys acquired. Open the gate. Lily signaled tight formation, rifle up. Secure the asset. Non-lethal if possible. Her voice clipped, fleet perfect, but underneath, a tremor Jonah caught like a familiar note. She's fighting it, Lyra said, wonder threading pain. I feel the fight. Lily advanced through smoke. Boots measured. 10 meters from the steps. 5. Lyra's eyes locked on hers. Silver meeting storm gray. You feel it, Lyra called, voice shaking but clear. The hole. The missing piece. Lily's step faltered. Shields flickered. Jonah vaulted a railing, closing distance. Stand down. That's an order. Old fleet cadence, desperate. A gray trooper spun, rifle rising. Jonah's pulse round took him center mass. Armor locked, soldier down. But more poured in. They're not stopping, Lyra warned. Satellites. Locking. Satellites whined overhead, biolock seeking resonance. Lyra felt the pull, her empathic signature syncing accidentally with the conditioned conduit in Lily. The relay's gate icon flashed green. Opening. It's happening, she cried. I can't hold. Lyra changed tactics mid-breath. Stopped pushing, pulled. Inward. Counterphase flipped to dissection, peeling training layers like onion skin, stripping shields slice by slice. Images flared between minds like film rewound. School desk, markers, old patterned backpack, soldier hugging daughter before deployment, untorn museum stub. Lily froze. Rifle dipped. No, Lily whispered, voice cracking fleet armor. The biolock stuttered. The gate chain collapsed. Gray unit faltered. Satellites entered fault weight, confused. Hale's voice cracked over encrypted. Overrides! Now! Lyra flipped phase again, building a bridge. Jonah's heart beat to Lily's. 2 rhythms separated a decade, meeting in choking silence. Dad? Lily's voice, small, lost in smoke. Iron discipline washed from her eyes like soot and rain. She straightened, turned. Abort link! Her own team's comms severed with a snapped command. Hale triggered orbital munitions. Raw brutality. Warning klaxons screamed planet-wide. Jonah grabbed Lyra's arm, hauling her inside as Harbor Light's doors sealed. Lily, move! She hesitated 1 heartbeat, then followed, gray unit splintering behind her. I remember, she breathed, stepping into the amber glow. The night wasn't over, but the net had a tear, and the sky remembered how to fight back. Harbor Light's inner blast doors sealed with a hiss of equalizing pressure, the clang echoing down the corridor like a judge's gavel. Amber strips pulsed overhead, painting every face in slow-breathing light. Children sat cross-legged in the shelter. Prism circle at the center, hands linked, voices rising in a low, steady hum. Not fear, not anymore. A counter-phase chord, soft as lullaby, strong as steel cable. Evelyn stood at the console, fingers dancing over manual overrides. Mag mesh at 80%, she reported, voice calm as Sunday tea. Decoys hot. We've got minutes, not hours. Jonah slammed a fresh power cell into his rifle, eyes on Lily. She leaned against the wall, helmet dangling from one hand, gray armor scuffed with red verge dust. Her face, older, sharper, still carried the curve of the 8-year-old who used to steal his ration cookies. Dad, I shot at you, she whispered, voice cracking on the last word. You missed, he said, soft. That's what matters. Lyra stepped between them, silver veins dimming to a tired glow. She reached out, not touching, just close enough for the air to shimmer. Your shields are down, she told Lily, but the training's still loud. Let me quiet it. Lily's shoulders hitched. They rewrote me every night. Dreams weren't dreams. Dreams are doors, Lyra answered. We're changing the locks. Overhead, the building shuddered, orbital rounds testing the mag mesh. Sparks rained from a ceiling conduit. A child whimpered. Prism Circle tightened their circle, hum rising an octave. The whimper turned to a matching note. Fear transmuted mid-breath. Jonah keyed the shelter's holotable. Red verge unfolded in wireframe. Impact zones blooming red, decoys green, mesh blue. Hale's throwing kinetics. Mesh'll hold 3 volleys. After that, we give him something louder, Lyra finished. She placed the cracked biomedical tool on the table. Its schematics spinning faster now, hungry. Lily straightened, wiping her face with the back of a gauntlet. Relay needs 2 keys in sync. Break the sync, break the gate. Already cracked it once, Lyra said. But Hale's forcing overrides. We need to overload the conduit, not destroy. Redirect. Jonah's eyes narrowed. You mean me? Your baseline's unconditioned, Lyra nodded. Raw emotion, fleet never touched it. We amplify through Lily, bounce it planet-wide. Every node sings the same note. Hale's satellites fry trying to parse the noise. Evelyn snorted. Turn the whole town into a jam session. I like it. Another shudder. Louder. Dust sifted from the ceiling. A little girl tugged Evelyn's sleeve. Miss Park, will the sky fall? Evelyn knelt. Only if we let it, sweetheart. Sing with the big kids, loud as you can. Jonah pulled memory identities from his wrist rig, old fleet logs, Lily's childhood voice messages, the museum stub scanned years ago. He slotted them into the biomedical tool. Fuel, he muttered. Lyra linked hands with Lily, then with Jonah. Circuit closed. Silver veins met scarred knuckles, met trembling gray gauntlet. Ready? Lyra asked. Do it, father and daughter said together. The hum in the shelter swelled. Prism Circle first, then every child, then Evelyn's gravelly alto. Lyra pulled. Not gentle now, a tidal drag on memory, on love, on every unspoken apology in the room. Jonah felt it rip through him like static electricity. Lily's first steps, her laugh in the transport bay, the way she'd fallen asleep on his shoulder during hyperspace jumps. The emotions surged into Lyra, through Lily, out into the nodes. Red Verge answered. Lampposts bloomed with magnetic mesh, weaving a dome of blue fire. Playground swings spun, launching thermal decoys that painted false heat signatures across the dunes. Cantina neon stuttered into jamming pulses. Sewer grates sealed, then vented harmonic resonance. Low, bone deep, impossible to filter. The pseudo-meteor satellites whined, overloaded, gyros screaming as they tried to lock on 1,000 ghost keys at once. Hale's voice exploded over intercepted comms. What the? Shut it down! Override codes! In the shelter, noses bled, silver, red, clear, but the cord held. Lily's eyes cleared fully, fleet conditioning peeling away like old paint. I remember the cookies, she laughed through tears. You always hid the chocolate ones. Jonah's grin was crooked. Still do. The orbital barrage faltered, rounds veering into decoys, exploding harmless over empty sand. Satellites entered cascading fault, one by one blinking out of sync. The magmesh dome shimmered, then settled into standby lattice, stars visible again through the weave. Lyra sagged, caught by both Keats. Gates! Deaf, she panted. For now. Evelyn opened the inner door. Children spilled out, voices echoing up the corridor. Singing still, softer now, a victory hymn without words. Outside, gray unit remnants knelt in the dust, helmets off, hands raised. Their psychic shields were gone. Lyra's cord had stripped them bare. No fight left. Jonah stepped into the night air, rifle lowered. Hale's evidence is live streaming to every public node from here to the core, he called. Myrex chain of command, fleet contracts, all of it. Obsidian relays wide open and empty. Lily stood beside him, armor half unlatched, teenage awkwardness returning like a favorite jacket. I cut my own link. They can't pull me back. Good, Jonah said, because you're grounded, permanently. She huffed a laugh, real, rusty, alive. Dawn crept over the dunes, red turning gold. The town emerged, miners, shopkeeps, orphans, staring at the lattice sky, at the kneeling grays, at the family of 3 in the doorway. No one cheered yet, too tired, but shoulders squared, hands found hands. Lyra looked up at the quiet stars. The net's gone, she said, but the song's still here. And Red Verge breathed easier, because the shelter had learned to sing back. Dawn cracked over Red Verge like a rifle shot across silence. Red light spilling across the dunes, turning iron sand to molten glass. The magnetic mesh dome flickered once, then folded into the lampposts with a soft metallic sigh. Stars winked out one by one, replaced by a sky the color of fresh bruises healing to gold. Harbor Light's doors stood open. Children spilled into the yard, voices hushed at first, then rising in tentative laughter as they poked at kneeling gray troopers who stared at the ground like men waking from nightmares. Jonah stood on the steps, rifle finally slung, arms folded tight across his chest. Lily beside him, armor shed in pieces, down to a borrowed Harbor Light hoodie 2 sizes too big. She kept flexing her fingers as if testing they were still hers. "I can taste the air," she said, wonder threading exhaustion. "No filters, no orders." "Welcome home," Jonah replied, voice rough. Lyra sat on the bottom step, knees drawn up, biomedical tool dark in her lap. Silver veins pulsed slow, heartbeat rhythm, not emergency. Evelyn emerged with a tray of steaming mugs, real coffee, rationed for emergencies. "Drink," she ordered the 3 of them. "You look like you've been dragged through a sandstorm backward." Lily took a mug with both hands, inhaling steam like it was freedom. "Tastes? Burnt?" "That's the good stuff," Evelyn grunted. "Jonah hoards it in the tower." Across the yard, miners and shopkeepers formed a loose perimeter. Rifles from Jonah's caches, faces grim but steady. A hollow projector on the cantina wall looped the obsidian relay feed. Contracts scrolling, fleet signatures glowing, Myrex accounts hemorrhaging zeros. Hale's face appeared in a captured vid, snarling overrides that now played to empty air. Public nodes planet-wide mirrored the stream. Core worlds woke to headlines screaming, "Expose, Fleet Myrex collusion." "They can't bury this," Jonah said, eyes on the scroll. "Too many eyes. Too much blood in the code." A shuttle roared overhead, civilian markings, emergency beacons flashing. It landed in the square, ramp dropping. Interstellar marshals in crisp blue, sidearms holstered but ready. Lead officer approached Jonah, badge glinting. "Keats, you the one who cracked the relay?" "Wasn't alone," Jonah nodded toward Lyra and Lily. The marshal eyed the kneeling grays, then the children. "We'll need statements, full debrief. But first," she keyed her wrist, "arrest warrants issuing for Commodore Hale and 23 Myrex execs, effective immediate." Lily's hand found Jonah's sleeve. "They'll come for me. Retraining, decommission." "Let them try," he said. "You're a civilian now. My civilian." Lyra stood, legs shaky. "We need a new lock on the relay. Permanent." She tapped the biomedical tool. "I can seed the nodes with a counterphase key. Needs 3 signatures. Blood, choice, resonance." Evelyn raised an eyebrow. "Blood I can do. Choice is yours. Resonance. That's the kid's song." Jonah knelt, pricking his thumb on a combat knife. Lily followed, wincing. Lyra pressed her palm, silver droplet welling. They smeared the tool sensor plate. Hollow schematics flared, then settled into a triple helix lock. "Done," Lyra breathed. "Obsidian relay answers only to Red Verge now." Marshals moved in, cuffing grays, cataloging armor, securing the square. One approached Lily with a scanner. "Fleet conditioning markers. We can help remove." "Already started," Lily interrupted, soft but firm. "Family therapy's faster." Mid-morning heat shimmered. Children dragged out tables, ration packs, water jugs, a makeshift feast under the open sky. Miners shared stories, how the playground swings lit up like fireworks, how the cantina signs screamed static that hurt their teeth. Laughter bubbled, tentative then real. Jonah found himself at a table with Evelyn, marshals, town council. Papers spread, guardianship forms, defense charters, transparency protocols. Red Verge becomes an open watch point, the lead marshal explained. "Civilian run. Your nodes stay armed but public. No more shadows." Jonah signed where indicated. "Shadows kept us alive. Light'll keep us free." Lily wandered the yard, hoodie sleeves pushed up, helping kids stack crates into a podium. Lyra taught a cluster of orphans the counterphase hum. Simple version, playground safe. Silver veins guided tiny hands. "Feel the bend, not the break," she coached. "Like this?" a boy asked, voice piping. The group's note rose sweet, clear. Warm. Afternoon brought shuttles, news crews, relief workers, curious neighbors from orbital stations. Red Verge's square filled, cameras rolling, questions flying. Jonah fielded them curtly. Facts only, no glory. Lyra hid behind Evelyn's skirts at first, then stepped forward when a reporter asked about the purple child. "I'm Lyra," she said into the mic chin high. "This is my home. We protect it with songs, not secrets." Cheers erupted. Miners stomping boots, kids waving crayon banners. Dustwind season's last gusts swept the square clean. Jonah stood apart, watching Lily laugh at a child's terrible joke. Something loosened in his chest, scar tissue finally giving way. "Hey, kid," he called to Lyra. "Legal papers say you're mine now. That okay?" She ran over, crashing into his legs. "Took you long enough." Lily joined, slinging an arm around each. "Room for one more?" "Always was," Jonah said. Sun dipped toward the dunes, painting everything in fire. The biomedical tool, now a public artifact, sat on a pedestal, triple lock, glowing soft. Town charter carved beside it, truth as liberation, family by choice, emotions as defense. Red Verge rose from underground fortress to open watch point, wounds cauterized by dawn's honest light. The last afternoon of the dust-wind season arrived gentle. Winds softened to whispers, carrying the scent of cooling sand and distant rain that might actually fall. Red Verge's square had transformed. Crates became benches, ration tarps became awnings. The cantina's neon now spelled "Welcome" in steady blue. 3 bowls waited on a wooden table dragged from Harbor Light's kitchen, one filled with shimmering purple broth, steam curling like memories, one with red earth soup, thick and comforting, one empty, polished clean, waiting for a return that had finally come. Jonah sat first, rifle leaned against the table leg like an old friend on vacation. He ladled purple broth carefully, recipe pieced from black market chems and Lyra's childhood taste tests. "Still too tart?" he asked, sliding a bowl her way. Lyra sniffed, silver veins flickering approval. "Perfect, like the candy, but warmer." Lily claimed the red earth soup, spoon hovering. "This the stuff you used to burn on deployment?" she teased, voice light but eyes searching his face for the dad she'd lost in static. "Improved version," Jonah admitted. "Evelyn's secret ingredient. No rush." The empty bowl sat between them, simple now, but real enough to hold space. Children darted past, chasing glow kites powered by leftover node energy. Prism Circle had grown. Orphans, miners' kids, even a few gray troopers in civilian clothes, learning the hum under Lyra's patient guidance. "Bend, don't break," her voice carried on the breeze, steady as a heartbeat. Evelyn bustled over with fresh bread, crusty rare treat from the new hydroponics dome. "Eat before it cools. Heroes don't run on adrenaline forever." "We're not heroes," Jonah muttered. "Tell that to the headlines," she shot back, nodding at a hollow banner. Red Verge defends with heart, literal. Lily dipped bread, chewed thoughtful. "I start classes tomorrow. Emotional literacy for the Greys. Deprogramming through stories." Lyra grinned. "I'll co-teach. Show them counterphase with finger paints." Jonah watched them, purple and human, silver and storm gray, trading ideas like old friends. Something vast settled in his chest, warm as the soup. "Legal guardianships filed," he said quietly. "Both of you, if you want it." Lily Spoon paused. "Want?" "Dad, I fought a fleet to get here." Lyra reached across, squeezing her wrist. "Family by choice, and blood, and resonance." Town council approached. Miners turned administrators. Clipboards replaced rifles. Watchpoint charters ratified. "You're head of defense, Jonah." Lyra, community liaison. "Lily, youth outreach?" Lily snorted. "From elite assassin to playground monitor. I'll take it." Sun balanced on the dune ridge, painting everything in liquid gold. The biomedical tool, now encased in clear plasteel, glowed on its pedestal. Triple helix lock pulsing slow. Visitors trickled in. Scientists studying empathic arrays, therapists for the Greys, kids from orbital schools wide-eyed at the singing planet. Red Verge's nodes hummed beneath streets, transparent now, public. A web of light anyone could tap for truth. A Marshall shuttle lifted off, gray troopers aboard. No cuffs, just new beginnings. One wave from the ramp. Thanks for the song. Evening crept in soft. Kites came down, tables cleared. Jonah, Lyra, Lily walked the yard's edge. Three shadows stretching long. Tower's too quiet now, Jonah admitted. Move in with us, Lyra said instantly. Harbor Light's got room. Evelyn's already claimed the East Wing for grandkids. Lily laughed, full, unguarded. Does that make you the little sister? Big sister, Lyra corrected. I've got the veins. They paused at the Crash Valley marker, a simple plaque Jonah had placed years ago, for those who gave the last light. Lyra laid a purple pebble. Lily added a fleet insignia, bent and broken. Jonah set the old music box, tune worn soft from play. They'd like this, Lyra whispered. Family found again. Night fell gentle. Stars emerged clear. No false meteorites, no threats. Inside Harbor Light, new photos filled wall gaps. Jonah mid-laugh with soup on his chin. Lyra teaching hum circles. Lily asleep on a couch with kids piled like puppies. The rifle leaned by the door, clean, oiled, a promise resting. If vultures come, Jonah said later, tucking Lyra in, habit unbroken despite her height. They'll hear the cord, she murmured, eyes closing, and snap. Lily lingered in the hallway, hoodie sleeves over hands. Night, Dad. Night, kid. Outside, Red Verge breathed even, watchpoint lights soft, nodes humming lullabies. Emotions here were no longer wounds to mine, but a counterphase symphony capable of rewriting any command. And the family, not tied by blood alone, but by choice, resonance, and unbreakable light, sat quietly under a star-pinned sky, listening to their world sing itself whole. Months folded into seasons. Red Verge's ochre skies giving way to rare blue streaks when the orbital mirrors aligned just right. Harbor Light Home expanded. New wings of plasteel and recycled hull plating. Windows facing the Crash Valley like eyes that had learned to forgive. The East Wing became theirs. Jonah's sparse room with the tin wall schedule now framed as art. Lyra's corner draped in glow vines she coaxed from hydroponics. Lily's space a chaos of sketch pads and half-disassembled drone parts. The rifle still leaned by the door, but now flanked by a child's crayon drawing. 3 stick figures holding hands under a magnetic dome, labeled home. Mornings started with routine. Jonah's coffee pot gurgling, Lyra's music box chiming a new melody she'd composed, Lily thudding in late from night patrols she insisted on sharing. Old habits where she'd shrug, stealing Jonah's mug. Besides, someone has to check the nodes. You're off duty, he'd grumble, but pour her another. Prism Circle evolved into the Resonance Academy. Basement expanded to a full amphitheater under the yard. Lyra taught advanced counterphase to mixed classes. Oral refugees trickling in from reopened lanes. Human kids curious about the purple magic. Former Greys learning to feel without orders. Emotion isn't a weapon, she'd say, silver veins guiding a circle's hum. It's the shield that shapes the blade. Lily co-led deprogramming sessions. Story circles where Greys recounted conditioned memories, then rewove them with empathy threads. I was told to forget my mother's laugh, one trooper admitted, voice cracking. Lily nodded, shared her own cookie thefts. Laughter followed, rusty, then real. Jonah's defense role shifted, training town watch and node maintenance, running drills that ended in picnics. Threat level green, he'd announce over comms, and the square would fill with kites again. But he kept the tower. Now a public observatory, scopes open for stargazing nights where kids trace constellations, Lyra named after lost oral worlds. That one's for the candy, she'd point, and the group would hum its note. Interstellar scrutiny came and went. Investigations, reparations, treaties. Myrex dissolved in courtrooms light years away. Hale faced a tribunal broadcast live. Jonah testified once, voice steady. We didn't fight with guns alone. We fought with what they tried to erase. The feed cut to Lyra demonstrating a harmony shield. Harmless, beautiful, unbreakable. Case closed, the judge declared. Red Verge received autonomy charters, funding, a seat on the Rim Council. One quiet evening, the family hiked the ravine. Jonah with a picnic pack, Lyra skipping ahead, Lily mapping drone routes on her wrist. They reached the old crash site, now a garden. Purple vines climbing twisted metal, flowers blooming in silver-veined petals. Mom would have loved this, Lyra said, touching a bloom. She does, Jonah corrected, wherever resonance carries. Lily unfolded a blanket. Picnic tradition. Don't burn the soup this time. No promises, he laughed. They ate under fading light. Purple broth, red earth stew, shared bread. Lyra pulled out the music box, wound it slow. The tune had layers now. Oral chimes, human whistle, a low thrum from the nodes below. Our chord, she said, never ends. Jonah's hand found Lily's, then Lyra's. Truth liberated us. Choice bound us. Emotions defended us. Night deepened. Stars wheeled overhead, clear, endless. A shuttle passed, lights winking friendly. Red Verge's nodes pulsed in response, a planet-wide heartbeat. Children's voices drifted from harbor light, prism circle practicing late, harmony rising like aurora. Think they'll need us forever? Lily asked, head on Jonah's shoulder. Hope not, he said, but we'll be here if they do. Lyra leaned against them both. Family by choice. Found again. And again. Years would come. New threats, new songs, new children learning to bend light. But the core held, 3 bowls on a table, a rifle at rest, a chord echoing through sand and stars. Red Verge stood not as fortress or watchpoint, but as proof. Emotions, wielded with truth and love, could outshine any empire. And in the quiet heart of it all, a family not born, but chosen, rescued, remade, listened to the universe breathe in perfect, unending harmony.